So here's a crazy idea for you. Nora is an alien. Or rather, she's just from another realm in the universe of RWBY, but she is not from Remnant. This is an idea I discussed in a previous video when I was discussing the possibility of numerous other realms that exist within the RWBY universe. When we saw the island realm and there being a giant tree in the middle of it, a lot of people, myself included, thought that it might be inspired by Yggdrasil, the world tree from Norse mythology, and because of that there might be 10 different realms, Remnant being one of them. And I kind of thought that Nora might be from a different realm outside of Remnant. And that would fit very well with the hints that we got in Volume 8 that she doesn't know who she is. Just in general. Not even without Ren, she's trying to discover who she is as a person. Who is Nora? And a large part of that would be discovering where she came from. We heard her say when she was talking to Ren in Volume 8 that her mother abandoned her for the Grimm. This likely being the Nukkalavi, as it seems very coincidental that Nora arrived in Ren's village and then the Nukkalavi arrived immediately afterwards. It seemed almost kinda hinting that the Nukkalavi was following her. Perhaps the Nukkalavi itself being sent from another realm. I mentioned in that other video discussing all the different realms that in Norse mythology there is a realm consisting of demons, and in RWBY that could equate to Grimm. The Nukkalavi could be from a different realm as well that was sent after Nora, or in particular, Nora's parents. One of Nora's parents. Maybe her mother, but more likely her father. Because if her mother abandoned Nora for the Grimm, and the Grimm came after Nora instead of going after her mother, then maybe by that point the Grimm had already gotten her father and was just trying to extinguish the bloodline. So, more accurately, Nora herself isn't necessarily an alien, but she's half alien. I think that one of her parents came from another realm and met Nora's mother, or Nora's mother came from the other realm, met Nora's father, and then they had Nora. So something special is there with Nora. She does have a semblance, the same power that everyone else on Remnant has, so we know she is at least somewhat related to the people of that realm, the people of that planet. The people of Remnant. So we know that she's definitely related to the people on Remnant, considering she fits right in with them, that she can use the same abilities, etc., but there is a couple other things that do hint that she might also have a different heritage on one side of her family. And maybe it's not her direct father or mother, maybe it's something further along down the family tree. We're not exactly sure, because the Nukkalavi itself was a very abnormal Grimm, being two Grimm fused together, the Imp Grimm and the Horse Grimm. Not something we've really seen anywhere else in canon RWBY, so that makes me think it was sent from somewhere else. Not Salem, but someone else that might have control over the Grimm. And in that other video, when I mentioned the possibility of there being another realm that houses a lot of different Grimm, there were a lot of people saying, well, the God of Darkness was the one who created the Grimm. You're right. He created them on Remnant. The gods of light and darkness came from somewhere else. Remnant was an experiment of theirs. The God of Darkness could have easily created Grimm elsewhere before coming to Remnant, or when he left Remnant, he could have created Grimm in his own world. We saw in just the Land of Darkness, where the God of Darkness liked to reside, that he just had Grimm roaming around. That was the company he liked to keep. So when he took off from the planet, destroying the moon in the process, he could have easily just went to one of these other realms. Perhaps it was just uninhabited, or perhaps that's where he got the idea for Grimm in the first place, and just resided there, creating more Grimm, and reveling in his abilities to destroy. And then at some point, maybe some other member of his race or something like that pissed him off, took off to another realm, or found some way to get to another realm when they weren't supposed to, being someone in Nora's family tree, and then, well, God of Darkness or someone else sent a Grimm after them, and trying to wipe out the entire family. This is just a possibility at the very least. It does kind of fall apart when you consider the fact that, okay, the Nukkalavi showed up at Ren's village seeming to follow Nora, However, Ren and Nora escaped that village, and the Nukkalavi did not pursue her, instead kind of hunkering down in that territory and kind of just staying there hunting everyone in the vicinity. So it didn't really seem like the Nukkalavi was pursuing Nora like throughout the course of RWBY or anything like that, but it does seem very coincidental that it arrived in the village when Nora was a child, immediately after Nora arrived at that village as well. And the fact that she's wondering who she is, well, it's something that I want to talk about, not necessarily something that I believe, but it is an interesting idea. With these other worlds, and there likely being other beings that inhabit them, perhaps there might have already been some crossover between these different races of beings. Plus, with Nora's character inspiration being Thor, one of the Asgardians, if there is any Norse inspiration to this tree being Yggdrasil, I find it really hard to believe that Nora is not going to have some connection to it. Whether she's going to be related to the god of the gods, I guess, if the god of darkness and the god of light are technically the equivalent of Asgardians, and, Odin is the ruler of them, Nora being Thor, Odin's son, or in this case, Odin's daughter, I don't think she's going to end up being some godly form of royalty or anything like that. It's entirely possible, but, I feel like those connections, it's worth mentioning, and is something that could play a factor in Volume 9. If these characters that were transported to the other realm do encounter other races, which I think is fairly likely, then Jean might encounter a race that has something characteristic to Nora, something that he recognizes, being on a team and in close proximity to Nora for 2 years at this point, both on Team Juniper and on Team Ranger, and then on Team Alpine after that. He's been in close proximity to Nora, and if he sees that there are some similarities or something that he notices, then perhaps he might make that connection. And then maybe help from that race would come back to help combat Salem, perhaps? Because frankly, the hero's side is a little bit underpowered to face Salem at the moment, so that might be something relevant. They might just come back to reconnect with Nora or try to bring Nora back to the other realm, but Nora instead, of course, would want to stay and fight on Remnant, stay with the one she loves, being Ren, the rest of her team. This is the place she grew up, etc. So I'm kind of just spitballing a number of different ideas here, but the core concept is what I'm trying to pretty much get across in this video. That I think Nora is like half, or at least partially, a different race than the people of Remnant. That she does have some origins from another realm, related to Norse mythology in some way. I know her character inspiration of Thor kind of came about because all of Team Juniper, their inspirations come from characters that were cross-dressers, at least at one point in their fairy tale, but it would be nice to see that Thor inspiration tie in to some other plot-relevant thing when it came to Nora. And other characters as well, but Nora in particular for this video. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Do you think that it is likely that Nora does have some origins in another realm? Do you think that her Thor character inspiration is going to relate to the Asgardians, for example? If you think that, Yggdrasil is what inspired this giant tree in the center of the island, that there are possibly multiple different realms, then it might be likely that Nora has some connection to that. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. This one is a theory that's a bit out there, and I don't really expect it to be true, but there is going to have to be some relation, or some resolution, I should say, to Nora's conflict of who she is and where she belongs. And I think that is going to be through her finding out where she comes from, but deciding she belongs on Remnant, fighting alongside the ones that she loves. And that's how I think it's going to progress. But that's enough of my rambling. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, got you thinking a little bit more about what is possible in RWBY, because I have a feeling things are going to be blown wide open in Volume 9 with the possibility of other realms. And, well, I have plenty more ideas to come as well. So, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe and join the Guild of the Eternal Flame. And I will see you guys in the next video.